right, so let's dive into this BYD Shark.
Okay.
You sent over a ton of articles and data on this new electric sports car.
Right.
It's coming to the U.S.
Yeah.
And you want to understand, like, what is all the hype about?
Yeah.
It looks like it has some pretty impressive specs.
Mm-hmm.
And you're curious to see how it stacks up against, like, the Teslas and the Porsches out there.
Absolutely.
So let's see if we can unpack this together.
Yeah, it's definitely a fascinating thing happening in the EV world.
Mm-hmm.
You're right, there's a lot of buzz around this car.
Yeah.
Especially with those 0 to 60 numbers.
Yeah.
Under 4 seconds.
Crazy.
And 400-mile range.
Yeah.
But before we get into all that,
Okay.
I think it's worth taking a step back and sort of understanding who BYD is and where they're coming from.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I was reading that they're kind of already a giant in the EV space, but they haven't really made a name for themselves here in the U.S. yet.
Exactly. They're a Chinese company.
Yeah.
And they've been pretty dominant in electric vehicles in their home market for years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They sold over 1.4 million EVs globally.
Just last year.
Last year, yeah.
That's wild.
And one of their key strengths has been their expertise in battery technology.
Really?
They're known for producing some of the most advanced lithium-ion batteries
Oh, wow.
in the industry. And now they're bringing that expertise to the U.S. market with the Shark.
So it sounds like they're not just some startup trying to make a quick buck.
No.
They're coming in with some serious experience and technology.
Yeah, for sure.
And from the looks of it, this Shark is a pretty serious contender, too.
Yeah.
I mean, this performance stats are pretty eye-catching, to say the least.
Yeah, let's talk about those numbers for a second.
Okay.
0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds is seriously quick.
Yeah.
It puts it in the same league as some high-end gasoline sports cars.
Wow.
And when you combine that with the potential 400-mile range,
Right.
it starts to paint a picture of a car that's not only exciting to drive, but also practical for everyday use.
Now you're speaking my language.
Right.
But hold on, how does that 400-mile range actually stack up against, say, a Tesla Model S?
Okay.
Which I know you're pretty familiar with.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
The Model S currently offers a range up to 400 miles,
Okay.
depending on the model.
Oh, okay.
So on paper, they're comparable.
Okay.
But what's interesting is that BYD is claiming to achieve this range
Mm-hmm.
with their own unique battery technology,
Really?
which they say is more efficient and longer lasting
Oh, wow.
than some of the batteries used by other manufacturers.
So it's not just about matching the competition.
Right.
It's about pushing the technology further.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so what about the driving experience itself?
Yeah.
Electric cars are known for being quick off the line.
Yeah.
But how does the Shark handle, say, in the corners? What's the overall feel like?
From the reports I've read, BYD has put a lot of emphasis on making the Shark a true driver's car. They've really focused on weight distribution, suspension tuning, even the way the electric motors deliver power
Interesting.
to create a car that's not only fast, but also agile and responsive.
I'm starting to get the impression that they're not just trying to build another electric car.
Right.
They're trying to create like a statement piece,
Yeah.
a car that challenges the perception of what an electric sports car can be.
I think you're hitting the nail on the head.
Okay.
And this ambition extends beyond just the performance aspects.
Right.
They've also paid a lot of attention to the interior design
Yeah.
and the technology features of the Shark.
That's actually something I was curious about from the pictures I saw. The interior looks pretty high-end.
Yeah.
But what kind of tech are we talking about here?
Right.
Is it on par with what you see in a Tesla or a Porsche?
It seems like they're aiming to be very competitive in that area.
Okay.
Reports suggest that the Shark will come equipped with a large touchscreen infotainment system.
Oh.
That includes features like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
Okay, getting pretty familiar.
Yeah.
What about those ADS, those advanced driver assistance systems?
Right.
They're emphasizing those too, right?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Which are becoming increasingly common in high-end vehicles.
Yeah. I hear that term thrown around a lot,
Yeah.
but I'm not always sure what it means in practice.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
ADAS encompasses a range of technologies
Okay.
designed to enhance safety
Mm-hmm.
and convenience.
So in the case of the Shark, we're likely talking about things like adaptive cruise control,
Exactly.
which automatically adjusts your speed to
Yeah.
maintain a safe distance
Right.
from
Yeah.
the car in front of you.
Yeah.
And what about lane keeping assist?
Yep, that too.
So it gently steers the car back into its lane if it starts to drift.
Exactly. So it's like having a co-pilot.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So speaking of looking out,
Yeah.
I'm curious how the Shark stacks up against its direct competitors.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned the Tesla Roadster earlier.
Right.
What about other electric sports cars, like the Porsche Taycan or the Audi e-tron GT?
Okay.
How does the Shark compare?
Yeah.
In terms of performance, range, and price?
That's where things get really interesting, and that's what we'll be diving into next.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay. So you want to see how the Shark swims with some of the bigger fish in the EV pond?
Yeah.
I think it's a fair comparison, especially considering BYD seems to be positioning it as a true competitor in the luxury electric sports car market.
Right. We've talked about the Shark's impressive specs, but
Yeah.
how does it actually measure up against those established players like the Tesla Roadster, the Porsche Taycan, and the Audi e-tron GT? I mean, those cars have some serious street cred.
Absolutely. Let's start with the Tesla Roadster.
Okay.
It's kind of the wild child of the group,
Okay.
aiming for just absolutely ludicrous speed.
Yeah.
Early projections put its 0 to 60 time
Okay.
under 2 seconds.
Wow.
Which is just mind-blowing.
Boys.
However, that extreme performance comes with an equally extreme price tag.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Rumor has it that the Roadster could cost well over $200,000.
Okay, so the Roadster is playing in a whole other league,
Yeah.
both in terms of performance and price.
Yeah.
What about the Porsche Taycan?
Okay.
That one seems to be getting a lot of praise for its luxurious feel and handling.
The Taycan is definitely a more refined experience,
Okay.
focusing on that classic Porsche driving feel.
Mm-hmm.
It's known for its precise handling, luxurious interior,
Yeah.
and quick acceleration,
Okay.
with a 0 to 60 time in the low 2-second range
Wow, still pretty quick.
for the top performance models.
Gotcha.
Price-wise, it's more in line with high-end luxury sports cars,
Okay.
starting around $80,000
Okay.
and going up from there, depending on the model and options.
Okay, so the Taycan is a bit more grounded in reality, at
Right.
least from a price perspective.
Yeah.
What about the Audi e-tron GT?
Okay.
That one seems to be striking a balance between performance and everyday usability.
The e-tron GT is a really interesting contender.
Okay.
It's got sharp styling,
Mhm.
comfortable and tech-filled interior,
Okay.
and very respectable performance,
Okay.
with a 0 to 60 time in the low 3-second range.
All right, still pretty quick,
Yeah.
but not quite as quick as the Taycan.
Right.
Okay.
It's also positioned as a more practical everyday car
Okay.
compared to something like the Roadster.
Right.
Price-wise, it sits somewhere between the Taycan and the Roadster,
Okay.
starting around $100,000.
All right, so we've got this spectrum of electric sports cars,
Mhm.
each with its own strengths and price point.
Yeah.
Where does the BYD Shark fit into all of this?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
Based on the information we have,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like BYD is aiming to position the Shark
Okay.
as a compelling alternative to those established players.
Okay.
Its projected performance figures,
Mm-hmm.
especially that 0 to 60 time of 3.5 seconds,
Yeah.
put it right in the mix with the Taycan and the e-tron GT.
Okay.
And if they can deliver on that 400-mile range,
Yeah.
it could be a real game changer in terms of practicality
Yeah, that would be huge.
for a high-performance EV.
Right, but that brings us back to the question of price.
Yeah.
We know that they're aiming to be competitive,
Mm-hmm.
but what does that actually mean in terms of dollars and cents?
That's where things get a bit speculative.
Yeah.
As BYD hasn't officially announced pricing for the U.S. market yet. However, based on their pricing strategy in other markets
Mm-hmm.
and their stated goal of making electric sports cars accessible
Right.
to a wider audience,
Okay.
there's a strong possibility that the Shark could undercut
Interesting.
the Taycan and the e-tron GT on price.
Yeah. Okay.
Some analysts are even predicting a starting price point
Okay.
closer to $70,000.
Wow, that would be a seriously aggressive move.
Yeah, it would.
But it's not just about the car itself, right?
Right.
BYD is also talking about building a whole ecosystem
Yeah.
around their EVs in the U.S.
Exactly. They're not just shipping cars over.
Okay.
They're investing heavily in building out a comprehensive infrastructure
Right.
to support their customers.
That's a good point, and it's something I was reading about in one of those articles you sent over.
Yeah.
BYD seems to be taking a different approach than Tesla, which has famously relied on its own direct sales model
Right.
and network of supercharger stations.
That's a key difference worth noting.
Yeah.
Tesla has built its brand on a very tightly controlled ecosystem,
Right.
owning the entire customer experience from sales to service to charging.
Interesting. So how is BYD different?
BYD, on the other hand, is partnering with existing dealerships and charging network, which allows them to tap into an established infrastructure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And potentially reach a wider customer base more quickly.
It's kind of like the difference between building your own house from scratch versus moving into a beautifully renovated one that's already move-in ready.
Exactly. There are pros and cons to each approach, right? Tesla's model gives them more control.
Yeah.
But it requires a massive upfront investment.
Yeah, that's true.
BYD's strategy allows them to scale more quickly. But it also means they have less control over the overall customer experience.
So in a way, BYD is taking a bit of a gamble, betting that they can create a strong brand presence and a loyal customer base by working within the existing automotive ecosystem.
Absolutely. And they're not putting all their eggs in one basket either. While the Shark is their flagship sports car, they're also bringing a diverse portfolio of EVs to the U.S. market, including sedans, SUVs, and even some more affordable compact cars.
That's right. It seems like they're trying to appeal to a broad range of customers, not just those looking for a high-performance thrill ride. They're aiming to be a viable option for anyone considering making the switch to electric.
It's a smart strategy, especially considering the growing demand for EVs across all segments of the market.
That's true.
People are becoming more aware of the environmental benefits of electric vehicles. And advancements in battery technology are making them more practical for everyday use.
Yeah, and let's not forget the cool factor. I mean, electric cars are just fun to drive. That instant torque and silent acceleration. It's a whole different experience.
You're absolutely right. And that brings us to another important point. The success of the BYD Shark and electric sports cars in general could have a ripple effect throughout the entire automotive industry.
Oh, how so?
Well, think about it. When high-performance sports cars, which have traditionally been symbols of power and speed, go electric, it sends a message that electric vehicles are not just about being green or economical. They can be exciting and desirable too.
So it's about changing perceptions.
Exactly.
Showing that electric cars can compete with and even surpass their gasoline-powered counterparts in terms of performance and desirability.
Exactly. And that can lead to a shift in consumer attitudes. Encouraging more people to consider electric vehicles. Even if they're not in the market for a sports car.
It's like a halo effect. Where the excitement and innovation happening in the high-performance segment trickles down to influence the rest of the market.
And that can accelerate the adoption of electric vehicles across all segments. Which is ultimately a good thing for the environment and for the future of transportation.
It sounds like BYD is really trying to make a statement with their entry into the U.S. market. They're not just selling cars. They're trying to be a part of a larger movement towards sustainable transportation.
I think that's a fair assessment. And it'll be fascinating to see how consumers respond to their message and their products.
Speaking of consumer response, I'm curious to get your take on BYD's target audience for the Shark. Who are they trying to appeal to with this car?
That's an insightful question. It seems like they're casting a wide net. Appealing to both traditional sports car enthusiasts who are looking for an electrifying driving experience and early adopters who are drawn to cutting-edge technology and the environmental benefits of EVs.
So they're targeting those who want to make a statement, not just with their car, but also with their values.
Precisely. And I think they're also appealing to a sense of adventure.
So
BYD is a relatively new brand in the U.S. market.
That's true.
So buying a Shark is a bit of a leap of faith. A chance to be part of something new and exciting.
It's like being an early investor in a promising startup. You see the potential, you believe in the vision, and you're willing to take a chance.
Exactly. And that sense of adventure, that willingness to embrace the unknown is something that resonates with a certain type of consumer. Especially in the tech-savvy, environmentally conscious world we live in today.
It sounds like BYD is tapping into a growing cultural shift where people are looking for more than just transportation from their vehicles. They're looking for a reflection of their values, their identity, and their aspirations.
I couldn't agree more. And that's what makes the BYD Shark such a fascinating case study. It's a car that's not just about getting from point A to point B. It's about making a statement, pushing boundaries, and challenging the status quo.
And as we've discussed, it's not just about the Shark itself. Okay. It's about BYD's broader strategy for entering the U.S. market. Their commitment to building a comprehensive ecosystem. Yeah. And their vision for a more sustainable future of transportation.
Absolutely. And it all comes down to execution. Can BYD deliver on their promises? Can they win over American consumers?
Those are the big questions, aren't they? Yeah. And those are the questions we'll be exploring further as we dive into the final part of our deep dive on the BYD Shark. So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from BYD's background and their ambitious U.S. expansion plans, to the Shark's impressive specs and how it stacks up against the competition. But I'm left with one big question.
Okay.
What does it all mean for the future of electric vehicles?
That's the billion-dollar question.
Yeah.
The BYD Shark is really just one piece of a much larger puzzle.
Okay.
It's a symbol of the just incredible innovation happening in the EV space right now.
Yeah.
And the just intensifying competition among automakers to win over consumers.
It feels like we're at a tipping point.
Yeah.
For years, electric vehicles were seen as like niche products, maybe a bit of a novelty.
Yeah.
But now, with companies like BYD jumping into the game with such a bold statement.
It seems like EVs are finally ready to enter the mainstream.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And the implications go far beyond just sales figures.
Right.
The widespread adoption of electric vehicles has the potential to, like, reshape our cities.
Wow.
Reduce our dependence on fossil fuels, and really fundamentally change the way we think about personal transportation.
It's not just about swapping gas for electrons.
Right.
It's about reimagining the entire automotive ecosystem.
Yeah.
We've talked about charging infrastructure, but what about the way cars are designed?
Right.
Manufactured and even owned?
Those are all areas ripe for disruption.
Okay.
Electric vehicles require a different approach to design and engineering.
Okay.
And that opens up opportunities for new players like BYD to challenge the established order.
So we're already seeing these innovations in battery technology, lightweight materials, software-defined features that are really pushing the boundaries of what's possible. And it's not just about the cars themselves.
Okay.
The shift to electric vehicles also has implications for the power grid, urban planning, and even the way we interact with our vehicles on a daily basis.
Imagine a future where electric vehicles are not just a mode of transportation, but also mobile power sources that can contribute to the stability of the power grid.
Exactly.
Or cities designed with dedicated EV lanes and charging hubs integrated into public spaces.
It sounds almost futuristic.
Yeah.
But it's also incredibly exciting.
It is.
To think about the possibilities.
And I think that's what BYD is tapping into with the Shark.
Yeah.
That sense of excitement. That feeling that we're on the cusp of something truly transformative.
I think you're spot on.
Yeah.
The Shark is really a symbol of that transformation, a tangible representation of the potential for electric vehicles to disrupt the auto industry.
Okay.
And reshape the future of mobility.
But as with any disruptive technology, there'll be challenges along the way.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about some of the hurdles BYD might face entering the U.S. market. But what are some of the broader challenges facing the EV industry as a whole?
One of the biggest challenges is still battery technology.
Okay.
While batteries have come a long way, there's still a need for significant advancements in energy density, charging speed, and cost.
Yeah, all important.
To make electric vehicles truly competitive with gasoline-powered cars in all segments of the market.
And then there's the issue of charging infrastructure.
Yeah, that's a big one.
We need a robust and reliable network of charging stations to support the growing number of EVs on the road.
Absolutely.
And that requires significant investment from both the public and private sectors.
For sure.
And we can't forget about consumer education and awareness.
Yeah, good point.
There are still a lot of misconceptions about electric vehicles. Range anxiety to concerns about battery life and disposal. Overcoming those perceptions and educating consumers that the benefits of electric vehicles will be crucial for driving widespread adoption.
Absolutely.
It sounds like there's a lot of work to be done, but also a lot of opportunity for innovation and growth.
For sure.
And it seems like BYD is stepping up to the challenge, not just with the Shark, but with their broader commitment to sustainable transportation.
I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
They're coming in with a fresh perspective, a deep understanding of battery technology, and a willingness to challenge the status quo.
Yeah, whether they succeed or not remains to be seen.
Yeah, that's true.
But their entry into the U.S. market is sure to shake things up.
For sure. It'll be interesting to watch.
Absolutely. And that's what makes this such an exciting time to be following the EV industry.
Yeah, it is. It's a dynamic landscape.
With new players emerging, technological breakthroughs happening at a rapid pace, and the potential to truly revolutionize the way we move.
It's an industry in flux.
Yeah.
And the BYD Shark is a powerful symbol of that change.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that the future of transportation is electric.
Yeah.
And it's arriving faster than we ever imagined.
Well, with that thought, we'll wrap up this deep dive.
Okay.
We've explored the BYD Shark from every angle.
We have.
From its impressive performance and cutting-edge technology to its potential impact on the EV market and the broader automotive landscape.
It's a fascinating story unfolding right before our eyes.
You've now got a comprehensive understanding of this new contender in the electric sports car arena and a deeper appreciation for the forces shaping the future of mobility.
Absolutely.
We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive.
Yeah, we hope so.
And feel well-equipped to follow the BYD Shark's journey in the U.S. market and the ongoing evolution of the electric vehicle revolution. Until next time, keep those wheels turning.
Keep them turning.